Today is Saturday, September 27th, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 49, Week 1.
Yeah, it's time to check in with the super fans, see what they thought about the premiere 2-hour episode. Maybe there's been some reassessment done of this group of castaways. Some of them shined, some of them were a little dull, some of them were kind of invisible. You were concerned your USB didn't really get a lot of focus.
No, I wasn't really concerned.
Oh, okay.
Because, like I said, sometimes...
Better less focus in the beginning.
People who don't get a lot of attention up front usually go deeper into games.
Yeah, that's it. It.
So, no problem.
Mm-hmm. How many super fans checked in this week?
23.
All right. We have a full roster of fans. Any business we need to cover before we dive in?
I don't believe so.
All right. With that, first up, we got Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here, baby. That was a solid first episode. I liked it better than Survivor 48's premiere. There was a lot of diving deep into the characters. I love the interaction of the tribe. Challenges were solid, too. Eliminated a great big... Bye-bye, Nicole. That's what you get for being the weakest link. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Because you know what, Stacy? Even though we could all agree it was probably a predictable, well, maybe not that much of a predictable vote, it was somewhat predictable. Because what did Nicole offer? I'm sure you guys talked about it in the recap. Physically, she was weak. I don't think she had much of a strategy going into it. Because no one wanted to really align with her there. So they had to let her go. Oh, for sure they would have lost the next challenge. Curious in her interviews if it looked like she was blindsided, if she truly thought Annie was going to go home instead, or did she feel betrayed by Alex and Jake, and maybe even Sophie. But I will say, I love Jake. He seems funny. I love what he's playing for. That's an interesting story. I love that he formed an alliance with Alex. Even though I felt bad Alex didn't win the challenge, but he gave it his all for sure. And Sophie joined them there. Annie, I think, is going to be a tool there for sure. If they lose again, I wouldn't be surprised if Annie goes. Jeremiah sounds like the Wicked Witch of the West there. Laugh is entertaining but annoying. Now, the other teams real quick there. MC, do we see much of MC? She seems interesting for sure on the yellow team. I like Jason. I love that he helped solve that block puzzle there in the opening challenge. We didn't see much, I think, of the other Sophie. And the older guy, Matt, he surprised me a little bit. So I thought he would be more on the Yelps, but they seemed to like him, and he started the fire on that yellow team. Christina was calm. I almost like Nicole. What could she offer? But she seemed happy to be there, even though she doesn't know what it's like to camp or anything. And real quick, my favorite team, the Red. My homegirl there, Shannon, love her. I hope she keeps it up. I really love that her and Savannah have started out as a women alliance. I love that they got my guy, Rizzo. Love that they're together. And I love that Rizzo came back and won that challenge for supplies, even though he copied Alex's puzzle there. But I love that he found the wheel and lifted the flag to win it. I really love Rizzo. He's going to be a big character there. If that team does lose lose, I could see Sage being the first one out. And I was surprised with Nate. I thought him being the oldest one, almost 50, he would be on the outs, but no. And Carolina, so he might be on the outs as well. This is a solid premiere, guys. I'll check out Nicole's interviews if there are any extra clips. So there's not much in extra clips anymore. Looks like based on next on, the heat is going to take a toll, guys. But a great first episode. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, Nicole said that she just did not click with Jake, and for some reason Jake did not like her, so she couldn't make any progress, and she pretty much attributes her boot to him. She said that Jeremiah asked her to spit the water into his eyes to wash the mud off, but they didn't show that part. And she said the reason that she ended up having the throw-up problem was because she took a vitamin. And, of course, they're not eating, and so she got that vitamin in, and she said within seconds she was spewing. I think that's kind of the highlights of what she had to say. And it just goes to show how you never know in the beginning of the game if you can make a connection and a good enough connection that could keep you in the game. And for her, the only one she really connected with was Alex. And that's really the core of the blindside feeling, because when she got that reassurance from Alex that she was fine, she said it moved from 50-50 in her head to 70-30 she was staying and that Annie was going. So he really did a number on her.
Told you.
And they all did. So she wasn't, she knew it was between her and Annie, but, they did a good job deceiving her,
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
Alex, the one that stopped her from playing the shot.
And she made a common remark, too, in that she wasn't even thinking about it when she went up to vote. When Probst told her, that she was the first one to go up and vote. She just didn't even consider the shot in the dark at that point.
Because she trusted him.
Yeah. Well, and we've heard a lot of the castaways say that they kind of blank sometimes when they're going up there. They're not thinking clearly. Good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for the premiere of season 49. And first, I just want to say that I would like to be the first female Cancer to be leaving feedback this season. I'm not a huge astrology person, so that moment just made me chuckle. Everyone's really clutching to their firsts. Like you all, I really enjoyed the premiere. I thought it was good. I thought this cast was solid. They seemingly know what they're doing. No one's making major blunders. I felt bad for Nicole. I thought the edit did her really dirty with the falling, and then the shoe at first before we learned that it was intentional, and the puking, and just a tough outing. And I actually really enjoyed her. I would have rather seen Annie, I think is her name, the other woman, go, but I wasn't too attached. It was only one episode. But yeah, speaking of the shoe bandit, that type of stuff is so lame. I think there's so many opportunities in Survivor to be truly cutthroat and diabolical for the sake of strategy in the game and getting yourself further in the game. What does hiding someone's shoe do? It just causes people distress when they have so little to think that they've lost their only possession out there that they need to compete properly. And then for what? Should anyone find out? It just makes you seem like a really mean person. Russell Hantz did a lot of bad stuff on Survivor, but a lot of it was in the name of the game. The stuff that for me makes him a bad person, not a villain in the game, is burning people's socks and pouring out their water and that kind of those moves. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'm not particularly taken with any one tribe or person. I do think that the blue tribe might be the losing tribe, but hopefully there will be a little bit more equity. I enjoy that more in the pre-merge when the losses are kind of spread. It doesn't have to be super evenly, but at least everyone goes to tribal at least once, and it's not just a bashing in of one tribe, because that we've seen that play before. Looking forward to what everyone else has to say. Have a good week. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana.
That's why I said Joe thinks he's, Jake thinks he's Joe from last season, plus with a Rupert chaser or something. But he didn't see, he only saw the first part of that season. He didn't see the ending.
Didn't see how it ended for Joe.
Yeah.
So as far as he's concerned, Jake's got the winning strategy, so he's going to ride that all the way in.
Though Joe didn't hide people.
No, it's a little duplicitous.
I thought when you don't have much out there,
like Christiana was saying,
what you do have is important.
Yeah.
It's like, don't mess with the stuff. Especially shoes. You really need those. I mean, you could get seriously injured, if you have to go out in the jungle and have no shoes off trails.
Yep, we've definitely seen issues with shoes in the past.
Yep.
I like Christiana's point about how everybody was obsessed, or a lot of them were obsessed with being first this, first that. So, yeah, that definitely was coming on strong.
I mean, I like it that they're excited to really play and make their mark on Survivor. I think that
they're encouraged.
helps make them a better player.
They're encouraged
Sometimes.
to spin up elements to be 10x your whatever you are, or however you feel your personality is, and to get the attention.
I disagree, though. I think, be yourself. Also, be genuine. Be authentic. Mm-hmm. I think that's important, too, to some degree. If you're a really good liar, then you can certainly utilize that in this game. But whatever.
All right.
I'm not playing.
Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor friends. I'm so happy to be back together again for season 49. The premiere was pretty straightforward and drama-free compared to recent seasons, but I like this cast a lot and have high hopes for the season. The intro got me revved up right away, and I loved the underwater visuals. When I was a kid, my family visited a museum dedicated to the Atocha, a Spanish shipwreck full of treasure that was discovered in 1985 off the coast of Florida. Oh, that's cool. We met the treasure hunter, and I even got to bring home a musket ball from the wreckage. So this shipwreck theme is extra fun for me. Oh, cool. With that in mind, I wish the marooning would have started on a ship instead of the beach, but I enjoyed getting to see the players so excited to begin. Both challenges for supplies were fun, and Rizzo's self-deprecating humor while he weaseled his way to a win against Alex had me cracking up. That's a good description, weasel. As for the individual players, a few stood out to me for varying reasons. I loved Jason's nerdy kid brother vibe. Matt was a surprising beast in the challenges, and there's just something about him I like. So I hope he can find a way to fit in with his tribe. Christina reminded me of Sari and David Wright during her bird phobia scene, so maybe we'll see her evolve over the season. Jeremiah also impressed me, and I think we could see some real gameplay from him. Lastly, even though I'm worried about her position in the game, I absolutely adore Sage. She reminds me so much of my close friend in the best way possible, minus the poop. And I love her quirky, unfiltered personality. On the other end of the spectrum, I like Annie, but I expected her to be much stronger physically, more charismatic, and a lot less bossy. As for the tribes, Hina strikes me as the vibes tribe this season, just like Siga in season 46. They may be in good shape until the merge, unless they start to get too antsy and turn on each other. In Uli, I'm a bit worried for Jawan and Sage, but the tribe should get annoyed with Shannon's woo-woo energy very quickly. It will be interesting to see where everyone lands in the coming episodes. Finally, on Kayleigh, Joanne called that perfect. Kayleigh looks like our disaster tribe, even with the biggest guy in the cast. Maybe it's just Survivor PTSD, but this bunch immediately reminded me of season 48. Complete with a big bro alliance focusing on physical strength. Fortunately, I don't think this will last. I predicted fireworks for Kayleigh during Jabik, but I thought the clash would be between Nicole and Jake. Now I think the main alliance may actually give us the real drama. I love the Jeremiah-Sophie duo, and Sophie is not going to sit back watching the bromance between Jake and Alex continue for too long. Next week, I wouldn't be surprised with a simple Annie vote if they lose again. But in the near future, I think Sophie's going to come after Alex. I can actually even see her targeting Jake, especially if he steals her shoe for no apparent reason other than TV time. In the end, I was disappointed to see Nicole leave so early, but I think I overestimated her, especially since she didn't even play her shot in the dark. At least she gave us some very memorable scenes and won't be forgotten anytime soon. Yeah, not for anything she wants, though. I can't wait to hear from everyone else this week. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do, as always. Thanks, Tara. Good job.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if Sophie...
Which one? Sophie
B. pulled a move to get Jake out this week. And to use Annie to do it. Because Alex, I don't think he would. But if they think it through, then Sophie and Jeremiah will use Annie to get Jake out and then take it from there.
Yeah, that's a very astute observation.
Though I don't know whether I'll put any or not. I don't know if they're thinking that through or they're not, or whether they'll even lose, because I haven't seen anything about the
Trashy
challenge.
Annie said she was the puppet master, so she may be the one who figures it all out and pulls the strings.
Possibly.
Who knows?
If she pitches that to Sophie and Jeremiah, we need to break this duo up. Mm-hmm. And but she's isolating so much. I could still see her go, because she's just. I didn't expect her to do that.
I think you came full circle there.
Yep.
Thanks again, Tara. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Maine with my feedback for the premiere episode of season 49 of Survivor. I thought it was a dandy first beginning. Great episode. Got to know a lot of the players really well. I thought everyone was well represented. I got a vote off point for Nicole, but I felt so bad for Nicole because Nicole was obviously very much physically out of her element, and it made me question why sometimes they cast people who are so completely physically inept for this game. And I don't find that to be entertaining television, to watch someone struggle physically in the heat and with the physical challenges. From all the biographies and listening to the interviews, and especially your Jabik show and the feedback show, I really felt that was going to be the first vote off. And like a lot of us, I was correct. But I felt it was going to be the first vote off because physically I thought this was just going to be a challenge for Nicole, and we were all right. I love all the players, all those girls whose names start with S's, both the Sophie, Savannah, Sage, and the one who's into astrology. I can't stand to listen to people talk about astrology and mindfulness. And even though I've been teaching a yoga class here in Maine this summer, I just hate when they get into like the woo-woo speak. I really couldn't decide between the Sophies and Savannahs for my USB, and I just kept going back and staring at their pictures. I loved the smiles on the two Sophies so much, but it was the kind of evil gleam in Savannah's eyes that made me choose her as my USB. I thought, she's going to be more cutthroat. And I think I was right, but I am a little worried because is she going to play too hard? Is she going to be too forceful? I could see that as a distinct possibility, and maybe I should have gone with Sophie S. because she seems a little bit more under the radar and gentle. Someone who irked me terribly was Jeremiah, who, unlike our Jeremiah, who is amazing, this Jeremiah is annoying. And Joanne, you totally said what I was thinking watching Jeremiah talk in Tribal Council of, why are you giving everything away? You're talking too much. And again, is that foreshadowing on how Jeremiah is going to play in the future? And is that going to get him out of this game sooner if he gives too much away and doesn't know how to keep things close to the vest? I don't know. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm visiting my boyfriend. We just took his grandchildren out to Dave & Buster's, and boy, I'm exhausted. We're going to have a little bike ride here tomorrow, and then I'm going to drive back to Maine and probably get to listen to your feedback show while I'm driving, which will be great. So glad the show is back, and thank you for so much for what you do. And I hope everybody is having an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. It was so wonderful to hear everybody's voices on the Jabik show. And I have not listened to any of the interviews put out for the new cast, nor have I read anything. So I have made my selection based on what I heard Joanne and Stacy and the rest of the group say. So on the basis of that, I chose my USB to be Rizzo because I liked his story the best. This season has started off really well. I really enjoyed it. And oh my God, when Rizzo was at the challenge, my heart dropped and I thought, oh no, my USB is gone. But I thoroughly enjoyed the way he cheated and he got the wheel and he won. So I haven't got to know all the contestants at the moment, but some did stand out, especially that guy Jake, who I don't think is going to last too long since he's given away all his secrets. Yeah, it made me chuckle when he said he was from, Sydney Hotshots, because I thought, oh, I've only heard of Thunder Down Under, but anyway, what would I know about that? So, all in all, it was such good fun. I really enjoyed the show, and I'm so glad Survivor is back. And I really love communicating with everybody. So, on that note, cheers. Hi, Joanne and Stacey. I just wanted to add to my earlier feedback, just highlights of this episode for me. Number one, of course, was Rizzo with his cheating. Number two was it Savannah? I don't know which lady who was mooning the tribe and peeing and talking about peeing and pooping all the time. Reminds me of my granddaughter. And there was the projectile vomiting by Nicole and then spitting. My gosh, she could really spit into the other fellow's face to wash the mud off. Is it Jeremiah who's the astrologer? His weird laugh. But the most cringy was, I don't know, is it Sophie or Savannah, who's that hippy-dippy girl?
Shannon.
Oh gosh. So these were the highlights for me. Thank you. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Rashmi. It is challenging in the beginning to keep all of them straight. Well, someone should just thump the casting crew for putting all these S-named brunettes in here
Getting
on
physical, you're going to thump them?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Raise a welt. All right. Thanks, Rajmi. Next up, we got an email from Audie in Arizona.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. My name is Audie. Audie?
Oh, could be Addie.
And I'm 12 years old. Well, welcome. Mm-hmm. As you've probably noticed, I'm a first-time sender. My mom and I are huge fans of your show and wanted to contribute with feedback.
Excellent.
First off, I want to say I thought this was a great first episode compared to other season premieres in the new era. Like always, there were a few gaps, especially during the decision at Tribal Council, but in the end, we still found out what happened. The one thing I really didn't like was the montage that was shown during Jeff's speech. I thought it was pretty crummy, especially when they showed Coach doing his yoga in the ocean. The first thing I noticed was how much Sage, who is my USB, was acting like Carolyn. She had that same weirdness to her, while still making it seem charming. But since she is my USB, I did not like that comment Nate made about her being too truthful and that he was on the edge about being in an alliance with her. I thought it was a good point, however. I hope that other people don't notice it. I came into the show thinking that Jake, also known as the Walking Hulk, was going to be someone I liked, but my family and I just thought he was irritating. I do feel bad for his father and all, but the whole shoe bandit thing was just him seeking attention and almost seemed like bullying. On the other hand, I thought his bromance with Alex was sort of funny to watch. One player I really liked was Sophie B. I liked her interview, and I regret not putting her as my USB instead of Sage. Sophie was very well balanced and aligned herself really well in her tribe. I also liked Savannah. Normally, when players make comments about them winning the $1 million, it's the kiss of death. But when she said it, I wanted to believe her. Her and Sophie both had similar gameplay in their strategic aggressiveness. Poor Nicole and Annie. The Kele tribe was very cliquey and quickly made an alliance. Unfortunately, they were just not aggressive enough socially and found themselves on the outside of the tribe. Honestly, I would have liked to see more of Nicole. I really liked her input on the game and thought she was a fun character, but oh well. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode. I loved the strong social gameplay and hope to see more of it. Thank you guys. I will definitely try to send feedback next week if possible. All right. Thanks, Addie.
Yeah, you did a great job.
You did an awesome job.
Tell you put a lot of thought into that.
Yes.
Express yourself
clearly.
clearly.
And very articulate, especially for 12. I'm not sure I was anywhere.
I know I wouldn't.
That articulate. Well, I was a little, old for my age, even at that that age, but I still don't know that I would have been that articulate. So good job.
Good job. Next up, we got a call from Rem.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Rem checking in from beautiful Vancouver Island in British Columbia. First-time caller, long-time listener. And it's nice to see a double shot of CanCon, Canadian content, with the very contrasting Jeremiah and Beefcake Jake. I think Jake might actually need to remove the nipple rings, though, just in case he's crawling through the mud or, heaven forbid, he has to slide down a pole. Ouch. So it's my first time playing JSFL, and my pick is Sophie S. And I think she seems to be a little more balanced than Sage, and hopefully not as aggressive a player as the other Sophie. I think Matt and Nate seem to be aware of their senior status on the tribes, and I think they're cognizant that they might need to work a little bit harder to prove themselves. Nate seems to have some pretty solid people skills, which I'm certain he would need working in the movie industry. I'm also cheering for Steve, the discount Ryan Reynolds, and I really appreciate his work in the space industry and that he's advancing the very worthy goal of helping humanity to become multiplanetary. At the beginning, before the Marooning Challenge, Steve said something quite interesting. He said that as we get older, we have fewer and fewer first-time experiences, which is part of what made Survivor so appealing. And I really like that. And I think that sentiment kind of goes beyond the game. It's more applicable in life than just Survivor. This season looks good so far, and there might even be some rewatchability in future years to be able to go back and watch this season over and over. That's my impression so far. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all of the work that you do and all of the effort that you put into the podcast. We really appreciate you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Rem. Rem, you're giving me serious flashbacks to basic programming. The REM, that's short for remark when you add comments to the code. Next up, we got a call from Michael.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Michael in Utah. I'm located in the high desert at 7,000 feet elevation, working on my home. Thanks to Joanne and Stacy's Jabik Part 1, I got a vote off point. And my only comment is astrology. Astrology. Oh, it's hilarious. You guys are welcome at my fire anytime.
Yeah, I've often wondered what that would be like if you get caught up in a tribe. Because we've seen it before where they all have some little astrology angle going or are familiar with the concepts. What would that be like to try to have to fit in if that was some big focus of the talk going on? Could you hold that up long enough so that you didn't alienate everyone just because you weren't interested in it?
I don't think you could sustain it for very long and play the game well. If you had people who were truly, seemed genuinely interested, that'd be one thing.
You don't think you could use the angle where you ask them about themselves? In that regard,
you bet.
I guess it would wear thin.
You could do that anyway
at some point, but that seems like a way that you could keep circling back and engaging.
It's a way to open the conversation, open the door, so to speak. But there's many ways to do that.
I'm with you, Michael. Thanks, bud. Great to hear from you. Next up, got an email from Crystal in Santa Rosa, California. Hello, my Survivor friends. I was so happy when I saw the podcast drop again. I really missed you guys, and I hope all had a great summer break. Fall is upon us here in beautiful Sonoma County, and we even have a few days of rain coming up next week, which makes our fire season hopefully less threatening. Well, it's great to get the rain that early in September. Well, that'll be October. So that's usually about the first time we were getting rain, although we've heard they were getting rain back there a lot since we left. I hope you'll be proud of me and that I did my homework and watched the preseason Mike Bloom interviews, which definitely helped with episode 1 name recall. It does,
definitely.
Doesn't it? However, I'm not sure it helped me pick my USB, which is Annie.
You never know.
Bless your heart. I loved her interview, and she struck me as very calm and likable with a great diverse background of accomplishments. But now I'm nervous given her initial performance. Last season, I made it post-merge with Mary, and I'm not feeling very reassured this season. I'm still formulating overall impressions on most of them, But here are a few gut instincts on some of the players. Savannah is not a nice person. She definitely has mean girl vibes. Didn't like her interview and don't like her still. There it is. Mean girl vibes all the way. I was thinking that when I was looking at her picture earlier. Shannon is in for a rude awakening. I think she'll be devoured by people who don't want to breathe with her, especially when hunger sets in. She does seem athletic though, so that may carry her for a bit. Slow down on the group classes and maybe people won't get too eye-rolly at her. Nate seems bored and annoyed most of the time. Matt just seems annoyed. Yeah, he did, didn't he? He's got a serious annoyed vibe. Get off my lawn. Careful, Jake. Early shenanigans are not always welcome. That's for later when comic relief is needed to lighten the mood and people know your sense of humor better. And if someone's foot gets cut because of the shoe bandit, you won't be able to hide your guilt. Your premature bromance taught us that already. You don't have a poker face. Sage, please stop being gross. Not enough 8th grade boys on your team that think it's funny. Steven is super smart and super insecure. That doesn't generally bode well, but I hope he goes far, and I have him in my Final Four if he can fake it till he makes it. Well, those are my initial impressions so far. I think it's a good cast of characters and looking forward to hearing everyone else's hot take so far. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Crystal. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Anderson from North Carolina. And my feedback for the premiere. We are so back. I got 6 points from a complete guess, and I didn't even watch the whole episode. So, yeah. I don't remember asking to be in the side challenge, but I'll take ties for first place. I have not watched anything, so I have no idea what's going to happen next week. I'm leaning towards Annie and then Jeremiah, because Jeff said, I remember hearing him say that it's going to be the first 3 weeks just too simple, and then the game kicks in after week 3. It just keeps going on. I have not listened to any of your podcasts except for the end. My USB Savannah, I picked her because I really don't know. I just picked a random USB. I will not be watching Survivor much this season, so I will not be up to date with my picks. So, yeah, it might be starting on that Terry line. It's great for you all to be back, and quick question. What do y'all think the final 3 will be in Survivor 50? And I will answer that question. I will answer it next on my feedback. Until then, have a great rest of your premiere week and great start to your week 2.
Awesome. Thanks, Anderson. Did you want to say a little bit?
Actually, Anderson, you sent you said last season at the very end, please put me into the side challenge for next season for 49. And I thought, I've never had anybody do that before. So, because I went in specially and set up the 49
side challenge file.
Yeah, side challenge file before 48, right after 48 ended. So that's when you told me to do it. So.
Final 3 for 50. We honestly haven't given any thought on 50 at all.
50 or
Let's
any
see.
of that.
I'll go with Jonathan, Sari, and Camilla. Those are 3 that I can remember. That would be an exciting final
Camilla.
3. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Camilla. Yeah. I was seeing it with the C, but once I saw the K in my head.
Then you could see her from season 48. Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Anderson. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, I think a lot of us were feeling that 50 was going to overshadow 49, so I wasn't quite sure how it was going to play out. But I actually liked this first episode. There was not a lot of drama, and that meant no baby Andy, no concussions, and no Bono boo-hooing, so I was fine with that. But I think, it doesn't annoy me, but whenever I see the players first come on the beach and everybody's so exuberant and they're jumping up and down and saying sometimes really ridiculous things. And I know that they're playing for the camera. Mm-hmm. I know they're excited. I know the game hasn't started for them until they actually lose and then see the repercussions of that. So I'm okay with that. Here are some of my thoughts on the players. Jason is my USB, and I like his story about coming in at the last minute, but I was a little concerned that they didn't seem to focus much on him. It seems like he didn't have as many interviews, but he did turn out to be the puzzle guy and did a great job for his team. So I'm feeling really good about him being my USB. I was surprised that MC... Well, at least we didn't see her talk about also being an alternative. The cast must know it, and we know it, but I'm just wondering if the average viewer of Survivor is going to know that. So she seemed to be underplayed as well. Players who turned out to be not what I expected from Judge a Book by your cover. Rizzo certainly won me over. I really thought he was emotional in his win. I don't think he was playing for the camera. I really thought I'd be irritated with Jeremiah and his laugh and the talk to the tree, but he's sort of subdued so far. Steven, I thought was going to be such a big jokester and they'd won him off, but he turns out to be kind of good at connecting, although his paranoia may get him into trouble. And Jawan, who was like a stone face in his pictures, is actually better than I expected. I did not expect Kelly to be the losing tribe, especially with Jake and Alex on it. But at Tribal Council, I thought it was really interesting. One of the things that Jeremiah kept talking about was the weakest person. Jeremiah, be careful because you're one of them. Sophie, I liked her sense of humor. It's interesting that we already have a 4-person alliance on that tribe, so we'll have to see how well it goes. But after Nicole, I'm thinking Annie is going to be next, and then maybe Jeremiah, and that this may be the disaster tribe. Again, it was a good first episode. I feel like I know a lot of the players well, and I can't wait to see what happens next week. Talk to you guys then. Bye.
Outstanding. Thanks, David. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Summer and Matt in East Tennessee.
Hello, Survivor friends. We were excited for the season 49 premiere, and it didn't disappoint. It's sometimes challenging to keep up with all the goings on in the first episode, but here are our thoughts. We enjoyed Jeff's meet and greet. We were surprised that Jake immediately shared his story. On second thought, not that surprised. You can tell he likes to talk about himself. The marooning challenge was good. MC and Jason were both impressive. Nice win by Uli. The side challengers for supplies can be hit or miss for us, but this one did a good job of holding our attention, and we cheered Rizzo's win. Another episode plus was the amount of tribe time we were shown. This gave us a good look at almost everyone, and boy, was the scramble for alliances on. Savannah stood out on Uli and seemed to be making connections with everyone, as did Shannon, which we did not see coming. We didn't get much from Shannon directly on who she wants as her number one, but everyone seems to want to work with her. Sage was vibing with Shannon, but when she requested bathroom report from the tribe, that was just odd. Nate did great telling his tribe what he does without telling his tribe what he does. Kaylee tribe is showing to be the disaster tribe already, with losing 3 challenges in one episode. Jake really missed out not being on season 48 and getting to fully bro out.
Yeah.
He seems to think he is running his tribe, but we think Sophie B might be the real power on Kaylee. She said it's like speed dating at Tribal, and she is hooking up with everyone. Good for her. Sad to see Nicole gone so soon, but we got 2 vote out points.
Nice.
Did that really need to show us? Did they really need to show us that close-up of her projectile vomiting? Don't remember anything quite like that on Survivor before. Let's all hope we don't get aqua poop footage. It's like Annie will be next to go if Kaylee continues to circle the drain. Hina's brains, brawn, and enthusiasm paid off big with 2 wins. We didn't get as much screen time with them, but Sophie S. and Christina might have the strongest social game on the tribe. Steven is already too much in his own head. Matt is obviously not smashing it on Twitch or maybe on his tribe, but he is on fire. At least he's making fire. Would have loved to have gotten more from MC. She will be the one to watch in physical challenges, no doubt. Lots of other great moments like Jason saying, "I'm in the TV," but we'll leave it here for now. Overall, a solid season premiere for us. Looking forward to others' reactions and predictions. Take care, everyone. All right. Thanks, Matt and Summer.
Good job. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and despite my negative jabbic, I really did enjoy this premiere, and I always do. I think that premieres are a lot of fun, I like when people just are terrible at Survivor. I think it's really entertaining. Now, I don't love it for the whole season, but in the first episode, they're learning how to not be awkward with cameras around them 24/7. They're learning how to adapt to their tribe mates. They're learning how to play Survivor, essentially. Even if they're lifelong fans, there's this period of, oh, okay, this is what it's actually going to be like. We get that in the premiere, and it's a lot of fun. I don't need masterclass strategy right off the bat. I'll get that in 50. But for a new group of people, yeah, sure, let them be terrible at Survivor. I think it's great. I love it. It's a really solid premiere. Got some really good stuff. I did pick Jawan as my USB. I don't know if I'm regretting the decision because I think he's going to be okay. We've had winners come back from far worse starts, so I think he'll be fine. But it's not a great start. But on that red tribe, I really like Savannah. I knew I would, but she's playing so well. I really like Nate. You get the two cuckoo girls there. Sage, she's the really weird one, was a little less weird. But Shannon, apparently Shannon's really weird too, which I kind of forgot. But she's there doing kooky stuff, and that's fine, I guess. Great episode for Rizzo. I do think that the crying was genuine after that supplies challenge. I think Joanne, Stacey, I think you two are a little too skeptical of that kind of thing. Not everybody is Banu. However, I'm about to ruin that scene for everybody. If you rewatch it, and it really hits with the, like, wow. But his crying voice sounds exactly like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. So you're welcome for that. Yellow tribe, the happy tribe. That's what Shannon wants the red tribe to be, is the yellow tribe. Great episode for Steven. Really the highlight of that tribe. Everybody else, they were there. They didn't really stand out, though. But Steven really stood out. Blue tribe, our tribe that sucks of the season, which I called in my Javik feedback. Just want to point that out. I was like, Jake is their strong guy, but everybody else, I don't know. Listen, one, I love the shoe band stuff. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's harmless and super funny. But also, the whole flaunting your bromance in front of everybody, yeah, maybe a little stupid, but sometimes it's better to go with the devil you know than the devil you don't. And if you're trying to form an alliance early on in Survivor, you're looking around, you're like, who can we form a majority with? If I'm Sophie and Jeremiah, okay, well, these two guys are locked in with each other. They're making it very obvious. But they obviously like each other and will play well with each other. Whereas the other two, do they like each other? Are they going to play well with each other? Are they going to let us come up with the decisions? Maybe not. Maybe these two guys are going to be far easier to work with. Sometimes you got to think like that. But the Blue Tribe, a lot of fun. I do really like that majority alliance. I don't like Jeremiah's laugh. I'm happy they voted off Nicole because I picked her as my vote off. Good episode. I had fun with it. But I suspect the Blue Tribe is going to go to Tribal Council again. Because like I said, Jake is really the only one of them that's any good at Survivor. Not Survivor. The challenges. Sophie might be the only one of them that's actually good at Survivor, not gonna lie. That's all I got. I will see you all next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. Let's check in with Shahin next.
Hi, Joe and Stacey and all Survivor fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. It was great to see your podcast, Jabik, pop up in my feed. I don't know, 10 to 12 days ago. It feels like it's been ages. Must be 3-4 months now where we didn't have Survivor, and it feels different. Great to have you guys back and have Survivor back and to hear back from everyone. Today was just a massive cram for me because work's been killing me and it's been a very busy time in our household. Had a bereavement more recently. I've started a podcast with my mates regarding Arsenal FC, which is a big passion of mine. A bigger passion than Survivor, unfortunately, but something that I've been following for a long time in my life. And I'm also about to become a first-time father, so that's happening in early February, and I'm very excited. But all of that's happened in the last, 4 to 5 months. Regarding Survivor, I had to kind of cram everything in really quickly because of all the busyness and with work. So I listened to Jabik, I listened to the responses to Jabik, I then watched the episode, and then I listened to your review of the episode, all in the space of a few hours, I think. It must have been 4 or 5 hours, and that was about 6-7 hours ago. So kind of settling down and kind of absorb everything because it was such a long episode. I think it was the 2-hour one, right? And yeah, surprised. It was a decent episode. Good start. Surprised considering that I thought that this would be a poor cast. So one of those ones I thought that they would hide. I think Parker might have said that in Jabik. But yeah, I thought it was just a throwaway season because of all that clamour around season 50. But yeah, look, pleasantly surprised. I think got a decent read on Jason. Don't think Christina's going to hang around long. I think Matt can adapt. Not got a read on MC or Sophie just yet. I don't have any good feelings about Steven. I just think he's a bit too nervous, too jittery. Might not have good trust issues going forward. Don't have a read on Alex. Don't think Annie's going to be around for much longer, especially with someone that, again, throws around the entrepreneur bandy. I don't do that. Please don't use the term entrepreneur. Stop it. Oh, it's just so grimy and I don't like it. Good read on Jake. Can't stand Jeremiah's voice, but I'm sure he's a great person. Nicole couldn't hang around, and unfortunately she just suffered from being in a tough position and probably not right for the game. Not sure about the rest, except for Shannon. I just think that she's a bit of a shill, and it's quite obvious that she's fake, and the woohoo stuff I'm not keen on. I guess there's probably people in our group of fans that are into it. I, for one, am not, but I just think that she's using it and hiding it. It's a bit of a moniker for her, if you will, for her real intents and purposes, and I don't even like that. I think that's worse. I'd rather you be into the woohoo stuff and actually believe it than not use it in this case, so I guess it's intelligent on her, but let's see. Thanks for all that you do. It's been a busy time, but it's great to have you back. Cheers. Bye.
Excellent. Great to hear from you. Congrats on the baby on the way and starting your podcast. And
sorry about your loss.
Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got an email from Becca in South Carolina. Hi, Joanne, Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. It was great to see the podcast logo back in my feed. We listened to Jabik Part 1 right away, but then time flew by and we didn't listen to Jabik Part 2 or make our JSFL picks before the premiere.
Ooh.
Oh well, I don't think we would have gotten anything right. When the tribe showed up on the mats, our initial assessment was that the yellow tribe was going to be really bad. Turns out they were really bad, that we're really bad at assessing tribes. Yeah, that happens to all of us. Liam and Caroline love Rizzo. All he had to do was say cooked, and they became instant fans. They told us that we should pay attention and learn from Rizzo so that we might gain a better understanding of their language. We can only hope. Watching Survivor put me in the mood for a puzzle, so I worked on one while catching up on all the podcasts and entered our picks for next week. We think maybe the next to be voted out will be one of the women whose name starts with S, but we couldn't differentiate between them enough to single one out, so I selected Annie as our vote out. That works. I'm looking forward to enjoying the season with all of you. Welcome back, Becca. Thanks. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey and Survivor fans. It's Johnny from Wisconsin here. Competing again in the side challenge, and I had a safe point on Annie at least. You know, go a little bold. Mm-hmm. Didn't put a safe point on Nicole, thankfully, even though I thought Shannon was going to go. And then it turns out Shannon has this great footing, and everybody wants to work with her. So now, interestingly, it's Jawan who looks like he's completely on the outs. I would suspect Jawan would be the next one to go, only because I don't believe Blue's going to keep losing. I mean, they got rid of Nicole, deservingly so. Yeah, I think eventually it's going to flip. I do like that Yellow Tribe has consistently been the best tribe. It's kind of what we thought, I think, early on, which is great to see. So that's always fun. As for Jake, I don't understand why you wouldn't just hide one of your own shoes, maybe in the first couple. That way you shed the blame on somebody else. But I don't know what he's trying to do. It just seems like he has to lie unnecessarily now because he keeps doing this, but he doesn't really seem to care. He just enjoys it. So overall, it was a pretty fun episode and always great being in the side challenge, and I'm not worried about my position at all. Whatever, it's fine. I went bold on a lot of my picks. I'll be fine come to the end of the season. It seems like the Final Four is all that seems to matter anyway, so just hanging in there until that point. All right, guys. Looking forward to hearing from everybody. Till next week.
Thanks, Johnny. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Joe.
So, he literally takes his puzzle pieces and puts them on top of his opponent's finished puzzle, and he still has problems solving the puzzle. That's crazy. Hello, Joanne, Stacy, and all Survivor superfans. This is Joe from Huntersville. I pulled the ultimate judge a book by its cover move. I picked my USB by just looking at the pictures on Paul's visual roster. I ended up picking Savannah. I also thought that Hina was the weak tribe, so I selected Christina to go last week. See how well I am at judging a book by its cover? Looking at next week, I'm guessing that Keely or Kelly or Keely or whatever will get their act together, and Matt on Hina will go. He seems to have a big target on his back. On another note, it was funny that you mentioned that the vote out order was online. I was just thinking that question when you mentioned it on the podcast. I obviously did not go looking, as I have not even read anything about this season. Well, see you in the funny papers.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Nicola in Kentucky.
Hello, Survivor family. It's so nice to be back and with a great episode to start the season. I am very late sending this, so I will just say I managed to watch the episode with Jackson this week.
Oh, nice.
While his mother was off gallivanting in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Well, good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Graham. He really liked Rizzo. As soon as he opened his mouth, Jackson said, "Oh, I like him." While I was thinking, oh, Lord, he's annoying. I have Savannah as my USB based on nothing other than the pictures on the game page and the fact that Savannah is one of my favorite cities in the U.S.
That works.
I'll try to get feedback in earlier, I promise, Stacy. Thanks for all you do, Joanne and Stacy. It's crazy times we're living in. It's so nice to have you all back around my fire. Nicola from the 12th District.
All right. Thanks, Nicola. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor superfans. It's Justin from Michigan. So if I had one word to describe this premiere, I would say balanced. I really enjoyed the mix of tribe time, challenges, strategizing. I really enjoyed the balance of everything, and that includes the challenges. I thought the individual portion of swimming, sprinting, lifting balanced out the puzzles, and I think throughout the whole new era, the puzzles were weighted way heavier, or for the physical portion, it was more team oriented, so you could really work together and your stronger people could kind of carry your team, people like Jonathan in the past. But this, if you have a weak swimmer, it's slowing you down. If you have a weak sprinter, it's slowing you down. If you have somebody who can't carry their portion of the heavy objects, it's slowing you down. So I really enjoyed that aspect where the challenges did feel balanced to me. I kind of want to just focus on the losing tribe, Kayleigh. First off, I think Jake is playing too hard, too fast, giving up too much information. He comes out on the mat chat, tells the story about his dad. I think you save that. And then he comes out and says his wife is going to be most likely giving birth while he's out playing. Again, I think you save that. Definitely don't share both of them within the first couple days. You're giving people too much information, stuff in the back of their head where this guy has a good story, we got to get him out. Yes, it's early. Yes, he's strong, but that's, to me, information you save. And then with the shoe bandit thing, I think that's just unnecessary risk. People find out that it's you doing that, they just kind of think, what is up with this guy? If he's doing that, what else is he doing behind the scenes? It's too hard, too much, too fast for Jake. And so now you get to the decision at Tribal, when it's two clear, obvious people this early in the game. I think Nicole and Annie both should have played their shot in the dark. Their votes didn't matter. So when you have four people who are definitely going to control the vote, at least from what we were shown, your vote doesn't really matter. If Annie plays her shot in the dark and didn't need to, okay, you don't have your shot in the dark, but it was a pile-on anyways. Your vote didn't really matter. Same with Nicole. Even if she thought it was Annie going home, you might as well ensure against the possibility that it's you. At least give yourself that 1 in 6 shot if, like it happened to be, it's piled on you. Again, it's not a 3-2 split, a 3-3 split. It's a pile-on, so you might as well, if you have any doubt, play your shot in the dark. So that's my point there. As far as it went, Nicole goes home. We've seen Annie's thinking ahead. To me, it seems like Annie might be able to pull Sophie and Jeremiah to vote out either Jake or Alex. I think that's the way it's leaning if this tribe goes again, and I hope that's not the case. I hope one of the other two tribes go. We get to see a little bit more of their dynamics. We kind of saw Savannah weighing her options. Does she want to go with Nate? Does she want to go with Jawan? I kind of want to see one of those other two tribes lose and see where their heads are at. But if it is Kayleigh again, I honestly think Jake or Alex are in trouble. I think I'm going to have Nate going next week, but like I said, if that tribe loses, I could definitely see a world where it's not just an easy vote on Annie. Looking forward to what everyone else has to say.
Excellent. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with some feedback for our first episode of season 49. An episode that included someone spitting in someone else's face, a player throwing up all over the place before tribal, and one player talking a little too much about poop and pee. Boy, I tell you what, if you're a fan of bodily fluid discussions, this was an episode for you, for sure. It definitely made it very entertaining. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a solid start to the season. A season that I heard Jeff Probst say that it has a slow start but a great finish. So we could be in store for a lot of mediocre episodes, maybe? Here are a few of my thoughts for the episode. Steven talks a lot. I like him, but I have a feeling he might talk himself into some trouble. A player that I was pleasantly surprised was Rizzo. I really liked this kid a lot more than I thought I was going to. Another surprise was Shannon. She came off a lot more normal than I thought. Matt, of course, is going to be a big character. I could tell right away. He's going to be a real hoot to watch. Hopefully he goes far. Then we have Jeremiah. That's right, the player with my namesake. Most people, of course, are talking about how his voice or his laugh bothers them. But he's obviously in a pretty good position at the moment. But after seeing his performance in Tribal Council, I'm concerned. He seems to be one of those players that's got a big mouth and is going to share a little too much. And this can be trouble for that alliance. So if they were wise, I'd cut him now. I've already decided a long time ago, I'm not playing with anybody who can be a wild card. Before the deadline, I was between Sophie B, Sophie S, and Savannah for my USB. I ended up going with Sophie B because I just like the determination of this young lady, and I thought she would pretty much do whatever it takes to win. And I have to admit, after episode 1, I'm very pleased with my pick. I do think she is in really good shape on that tribe. In this early hour, you definitely have to say that Savannah is another one who is really in shape and also looks pretty good. But as far as the Hana tribe, the yellow tribe, I'm not quite sure who is really in the best shape there. We did get a lot of strategy talk from them. So this makes me think that that tribe probably will not be seeing a lot of tribal council early on. Another feeling I had after this episode was my prediction of a woman winning this season is feeling pretty good to me. So who is on the outs? Well, like I said, I'm not super clear about our yellow tribe. On the red tribe, I am definitely concerned about Jawan, someone who I was high on, was in my top 4 picks, but I think he could be in trouble there. And on the blue tribe, definitely Anna is in trouble, unless they go with my idea with Jeremiah, but I think Anna will probably be our next to go. All right, well, anyway, that's it for me. You all take care until next time. This is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Fantastic. Good job, Jeremiah. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, and so another season begins. The premiere was a bit slow, and I always find the first few episodes to be challenging as I try to learn all of the players. But there were a lot of hopeful signs. It seems like a good cast, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out. My other observations. Survivor can be like a scary movie, but sometimes it's more like the Wayans scary movie. Yeah. Alex loves to kiss butt. Working in Congress must be his dream job. Savannah thinks the million is hers. I think she's counting her chickens before her plot's hatched. Rizzo knows how to file his taxes. If he wins, that puts him a step ahead of Richard Hatch. That's perfect. Oh, that's classic Survivor humor with a dig. Oh, that's got some bite. Jeremiah's used to first class, 5-star resorts. Boy, did he take the wrong destination vacation. Jeff says Survivor isn't The Price is Right. I agree. With goats, swaps, and the Monty Hall problem, it's let's make a deal. Nate's rad dad socks are proof that he isn't one. The past few seasons have featured excessive enthusiasm from some players. I think they're auditioning for season 50. Sage is into peeing, pooping, and aqua dumps. She would have been a natural ally for Dr. Cedric. That's true. I wondered if they considered, because they're casting them all at the same time. I wonder if that came up in the casting room. That's funny. I suspect that some of season 50's fan twists are going to be beta tested in 49. Will we see a true Final Four vote? Jeff said Survivor is a zero-sum game. I believe the actual sum is $1 million pre-tax. Well, it depends on if it's An American wins or a Canadian? If Matt treats baggage the way he treated the blocks, he should be on an American Tourister commercial. Wasn't it interesting that alternates Jason and MC were Hina's stars in the marooning challenge? During the head-to-head competition, Rizzo gave off such over-the-top Jerry Lewis vibes that I expected him to shout, "Hey, lady!" Is Steven wearing hearing aids, or are they really earpieces to get advice from his NASA bros? Christina suffers from bird phobia, or in layman's terms, a fear of flyers. Nicole uses her keen observational powers to detect money laundering. Does she look for traces of Tide on $100 bills? Jake is a Michelin 5-star steakhouse meat shield. Was steak sauce part of his Magic Mike act? Nicole feels at home in the jungle, but only if it's the concrete kind. Nate's making a big mistake by not going full Mike White. With his producer cred, people would probably drag him to the end as a golden goat while trying to get cast in Marvel movies. Shannon said Fenway Park was her church. Being a Red Sox fan is almost a religion. Nicole discovered that projectile vomiting isn't a skill her tribe values. We'll need more time to confirm it, but Kayleigh is looking like the disaster tribe. Indeed. Jake's a Canadian corrections officer. Canadians are nice. Does he make his inmates write "I won't be bad" 100 times per day until they reform? Alex loves jigsaw puzzles. Sandboxes, not so much. Nicole had trouble finding her shoe. Canadian Jake tossed it 10 meters, but she was using feet. Nice metric joke. If Shannon came back for season 50, would breath yoga mesh well with Coach Chi? Accents aside, Jake's voice sounds eerily similar to Jake's from season 45. I saw a picture where they met up. Matt says other people tend to like him. Is it because he carries their bags for them? Was longtime fan Jake doing an homage to Rudy when he described his bromance as not the sexual kind? Jeff and the producers love showing us their giant snakes. Sounds like overcompensation to me. In the challenge, Annie was at the end of her rope. She might wind up there again at the next tribal. The art department's running low on Fijian lore. One immunity idol was definitely the Greek god Poseidon. Kayleigh had to pick their poison between Annie and Nicole. It came down to the worst hairstyle. Jawan flamed out when he tried to start a fire. Jake said that Nicole always gives her best. He forgot to add, bless her heart. Annie almost got trashed by her tribe. Nicole said that numbers don't lie, people do. She must not have heard a Culpepper mouth. Next time, day 5 takes an interesting turn. Annie is a puppet master Karen, and don't mess with the shoe bandit. Will Jake get the boot? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Snuck a stinker in there at the end. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And here are my thoughts on Survivor 49, Episode 1. First of all, I have a USB update. I decided to go with Sophie B instead of Sage. And I guess we can add one more thing to my list of things that make me go, ew, and that is saving blackheads in a jar. I cannot believe that those words just came out of my mouth. They never will again. Anyway, when I listen to both Jabik shows, I just can't unhear what was said. It will be a thing of my wacky nightmares for the rest of my life. I tried to convince myself that it's okay, and I'm sure that I will enjoy rooting for her, but no, I can't, so I switched. I know that I will enjoy rooting for Sophie B. So I liked the marooning challenge. I thought the segments of it were great, but I really did not enjoy the initial moments of the marooning itself. I was just thinking how much I liked or disliked the players that were talking, and then I just thought, oh, are we still on the beach? I felt a little bit like it was the Jeff show. I like Jason a lot. I like that he's a gamer. I also like Steven. I thought he was going to be a little bit over the top. That was kind of what I heard and expected from him, but I think he has a good energy. Rizzo is another person who I thought would be over the top, but I really like him. One thing I will say, though, is his puzzle skills are awful. What happened? But he was very resourceful and never gave up on the supplies challenge. And I loved how he broke the fourth wall with those little looks to the camera. I love it. And I'm just going to say it. He reminds me of Coach. Just a little. We'll see if it sticks. But if it does, I am here for it. But back to the challenge itself, that was really Alex's challenge to lose, and he bit the dust. I'm not a fan of Jake right out of the gate, and for several reasons. What is it, first of all, with him stealing the shoes? Will the shoe bandit thing backfire on him? I think it will. And also, I think he's leaning into this bromance with Alex just a little bit too hard. And his social game is really suffering for it. Sophie B tried to form an alliance with him, and he flat out told her, I'll not do a final 2 with you. I'll do a final 3 because you know Alex and I have a bromance going on. Jake gave that kind of brush off to both Sophie and Jeremiah. First, he tells Sophie that she can be the third in their 3, and then he tells Jeremiah, well, Alex is my number 1, so you can be with us in a 4. In a numbers game, Jake, 2 is not the majority. And if I saw someone on my tribe like Jake strutting around and broadcasting his strong duo, I would be plotting to do everything I could to break that duo up. Anyway, overall, it was a really good episode. I was entertained. It started off slow, but it got better in the end. And I think we have some very good personalities on this season. Time will tell. Well, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear what everyone else's first impressions are. Till next week.
Excellent. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, I think you'll be much happier with Sophie B as your USB. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and I have to say that I was very pleased with our first episode. In fact, it didn't even feel like 2 hours to me, which may mean that I'll be disappointed next week when we lose a half an hour. I guess we'll see. So let's get a few of the negatives out of the way here. First, the whole Jake as a shoe bandit thing really made me reevaluate him. I was liking Jake up until that point, but now I can't help but think that he really isn't firing on all cylinders, because what good does a stunt like that do you? You get caught and it could really burn you in the end. I still like him, and I know that he does it yet again, but hopefully that'll be the last time. Along a similar vein, there was the whole Alex and Rizzo challenge. First off, throughout the coconut gathering and the beginning of the puzzle solving, Rizzo looked like he was going to spew due to his nerves. Alas, that happens later on to someone else. But what kind of a god needs to cheat so unashamedly? Apparently a Riz god. I mean, the fact that he just didn't care at all about cheating so blatantly makes me worry about the taxes that he bragged about preparing for his parents. I'm sorry, but that over-the-top level of cheating bothered me. I was waiting for him to actually swap puzzle boards there for a minute. And I think the only other thing that disappointed me was how Jeremiah spilled too much information to Jeff at Tribal. Jeremiah is a character for sure, and although I had written him off before the show even began, I was able to see that he just might be fun to watch after all. Then he spilled some big beans, and I was pretty sure that Nicole would then play her shot in the dark. But she didn't, so maybe I read too much into his rambling. But if they lose again next week, well, they're going to be in the same dilemma of deciding as to which of the 2 weak players is going to go, Trashy Annie or Jeremiah. The rest of the show, as far as I can recall anyway, was wonderful. It was a bit sad to watch Jawan try to start fire using tinder that was soaked through with his sweat. Meanwhile, Matt made short work of starting a fire after letting everyone else strip their flint practically clean. I'm liking Matt a lot more than I thought I would. And he performed as I expected, and I thought that it was great to partner her up with Strongman Jake for the challenge, but I was also disappointed that those oversized snake door draft stoppers weren't waterlogged. But even still, they required a good amount of blood, sweat, and tears to hold back to their snake stands. Oh, and when we got to Tribal, we got to see that One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship as part of the set decoration. Wait until Nate sees that. So, in the end, yeah, I was wrong about Nicole lasting for a bit, which means that Taz was right. But he still didn't pick her as first to go anyway. Still, he did get 4 points, while I only got 3 because I did put my money where my mouth was and chose Nicole as safe. But the way I see it, that's just one more possible vote that I'll have towards the end of the season. And finally, next to go, yeah, I'm picking Annie. That tribe, whose name I can't remember how to pronounce, that starts with a K, will lose again, and Annie with the permanent sand on her eyelids will be sent a packing. I would say glitter eyeshadow on the beach doesn't really work. Ladies, take note. So that's about it for me. Catch y'all next week. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul. I like the Goonies reference. Yeah, I agree. That does look like sand stuck to her eyelids. That is such an odd choice. It just looks uncomfortable. So looking at Annie becomes uncomfortable.
Well, it's just an attention getter.
Yes. Well, same thing with their hair color, right? That's what she's going for. And all the sparkliness.
A lot of people like their hair color, but not usually. No, there are people her age and even older. And I say do what you like.
Sure,
So-
but there's also an element of look at me when
Yeah.
you got that.
Oh, yeah. And I think I don't know what messages it sends because her outward appearance gives
Extrovert.
one impression,
Yeah.
and her withdrawing and all of that gives a whole nother impression. So
Right.
it's like, who are you? And how can I trust my judgment of you?
Yeah, you don't want that in the beginning because it's
Yeah.
so, I mean, look where that
It's not
approach
safe.
that Shannon has is welcomed. People feel like they can at least recognize it. It's so hard to have those first impressions and figuring out who you can and can't work with and all that. So why make that more difficult for people? People are hungry for something to grab onto. I think that's why Shannon's
except
stick
Savannah.
works. Yeah.
Savannah's already done the eye rolls. So,
Yeah.
But she's smart enough to hang in there with it.
Well, being a reporter, she's seen all
Yeah.
nature of shills, I'm sure,
Oh,
and attention getters.
and I'm sure she's been trained to control her react, where most of us aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she probably has a lot more experience.
Yeah, she certainly had that kind of training, like you said,
Right.
classic media training. She can frame everything and think quickly on her feet.
And she was eye rolling to the camera, not necessarily at Shannon or to Shannon.
Yeah, I still can't quite put my finger on where Shannon is. Is she full-blown huckster, or is there a player under there? Because in her confessional, she makes comments where you think, yeah, she's got a beat on what's going on. She's just trying to figure out how to line up her pieces so that she can make a play.
I think she's here to really play, and I think she can be as cutthroat as anybody else. That, she's got a beat on the game and what she wants to do. And so, yeah, I first thought that, that's not going to fly. But I thought, no, she's got it more under control than I thought she would, so that she's not 100% just turning off people that don't want to hear. And so we'll see. Time will tell.
Who are you thinking for your next pick? You think Blue's going to continue to self-destruct?
I am between Annie and Jake right now.
Okay, so Blue's going to lose
but I
again.
want to see the challenge, pictures, what little there is, just to kind of, see how physical it is, if we can tell, and just, kind of think, okay, can they do this one or can they not? Are they really going to try because they don't want to lose again? I'm pretty sure they will, but...
Yeah, it's an interesting theory that several people brought up about Sophie flipping the script on Jake.
Oh, I think Sophie will just be deliciously cutthroat and do whatever she needs to do to further her game.
Yeah, Jake so misplayed that with her.
Yeah, I think so too. But I could also see her get rid of Alex because she's
that's the classic
set
move
on working with Jake, whether he wants to or not.
Right, meat
She
shield.
wants to be his number one.
Yeah, so
But
you get rid
I
of
think
his.
Alex is, kind of a meat shield too, but I guess not like Jake. So I could see her also getting rid of Alex
Yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility too.
and holding on to Jake,
I
unless
would
he
hate
steals
to lose
her
my
shoes, like you
USB
said.
that early,
But
but it's definitely on the table, I think.
yeah, because I think she and Jeremiah are pretty solid, and like I said, I think you and I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I was thinking that she might want to do something different than Annie, because she might want to use Annie to be able to make the move on either Alex or Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, if they vote Annie out, then she doesn't have the numbers to do it.
Yeah, she would have to have some kind of relationship with Annie, right? That some
Yeah.
basis to work from.
Yeah, but
it seems
Annie
like.
approached her and Jeremiah, right?
Yeah, and she didn't go, and Annie got to be part of the unanimous vote against Nicole. So,
But yeah, that would be my thought. If she really wants to make getting rid of one of the bigger guys, then she has to do it while they have Annie to do it. Because I don't think Jake or Alex are going to turn on each other. Certainly not at this point.
mm-hmm.
So they would need Annie to do that. She's on board. So, and why wouldn't you if it's either you or one of them?
Right, which means Annie would have to be on board to look like the decoy vote again.
Yep.
And so she's potentially going to catch 2 votes, which she's going to be even more uneasy about.
Yep.
Maybe she flips a script on Sophie B.
And they could be lying about it just to, make her feel safe and not play her shot in the dark. But it depends on how well Sophie and Jeremiah sell it. If they choose to do that. If they lose, and I'm not sure if they would. Now that I think about it, though, I kind of think she'd want to keep Jake. I'd rather keep Alex myself, but she had her sights set on him as her meat shield, and she doesn't. She's more jealous of Alex, so it might be Alex's week to go, but. Oh, he's your USB.
However you look at it, Annie's the pivot.
I would hate that, though. Yeah, right in the
So
middle
she's
right
going to
there.
have all the power to decide which way it goes if they go back. But I'm with everybody else. I really hope one of the other tribes ends up going. That would be great if they all got fire battle tested at tribal council before the merge. That would be ideal.
Yeah, well, and it could. That's why I say, there's no guarantee that they will just be massacred because they still have some strength.
How about that first episode, no advantages, no idols? Nicole said they did a group hunt for the idol, and she looked a little bit, but there wasn't a significant searching going on. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. Hey, we want to say a big thank you to everybody who took time to send in your thoughts, share your predictions with everyone this week. We loved hearing what you thought about the premiere episode. And we also want to say a special thanks to David, Hope, and Pat for your donations. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
And if you play in JSFL, remember to make your picks for 1 person voted out and 4 people you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
We're excited for the next 90-minute episode on Wednesday, and we'll be back then with our recap.
All right. Everybody have a good weekend.